All right, Rabbi, say good morning. Let us begin. So first of all, it's an incredible schos in Yetz Hashem to once again resume Tzidkas Hatzaddik. Very exciting. It's been a long time since we've been privileged to learn the words of the Rebbe to begin our morning. With the words of the Rebbe, we'll see how long we get to do it until the Daf Muf Ksuvas become a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated. We should at least chabarayim while we can. I sent out the PDF on the chat last night, that you could follow along. So we are beginning today, Os Kuf Beis. So an incredibly beautiful, wait, is that what I sent out to you last night? Kuf Aleph, sorry. Os Kuf Aleph. A beautiful idea. So writes Reb Tzaddik as follows. And let's follow along in the Be'orei Chasidus, at least getting a little bit of a start. We won't get too far today, but at least a little taste. So the Rebbe writes as follows: B'maisa I efshar li adam lios tzaddik gomer. I will say, what a profound way to start the morning and to start the week. Writes Reb Tzaddik, L'maisa, truth be told, it's not possible for a person to be a tzaddik gomer, for a person to be absolutely righteous. That doesn't happen that way. Dahainu, shelo yitochin shelo yetze ma'at mishuras hadin laharshia. The Rebbe says it's impossible for a person to go out and be what he calls a tzaddik gomer, which means that a person, by definition, will always deviate a little bit from that which is correct, will always deviate a little bit from that which is expected, and ultimately find themselves on the wrong side of the law. It's just the way the world works. Kimo shenemar, as it quotes the pasuk from Koheles, Ein Adam Tzaddik Ba'aretz Asher Ya'aseh Tov V'lo Yechta. Shlomo Melech says this in Koheles, that Koheles is incredible yisod. There is no such thing as a righteous person in the world who will only do good and will not sin. So I will say, so first of all, sometimes we hear this, sometimes whatever we see in Koheles, we tend to take with a little bit of a grain of salt, right? And think maybe Shlomo, because Koheles was written in a point in time in Shlomo HaMelech's life where there was an incredible amount of upheaval, an incredible amount of sadness, an incredible amount of almost like disillusionment with the world. Shlomo HaMelech had this disillusioned stage, and understandably so, a variety of things. Sometimes we see Koheles and we say, that's Shlomo HaMelech, kind of a little bit like disillusioned with the world. And so we take, but here Shlomo HaMelech is saying something so incredibly profound. Ein Adam Tzaddik Ba'aretz Asher Ya'aseh Tov V'lo Yechta. There's no such thing as a person who's a tzaddik who only does good and never sins. Impossible. He goes on, Ki b'maaseh b'poel. He says, V'hari haTorah tzaddik hainu al adam hanizar ba'atzmo shelo yetze mishuras hadin. The Rebbe said, now this is actually very interesting. So look at the pasuk. Look how the Rebbe dissects the pasuk. Ein tzaddik ba'aretz. Now what's a tzaddik? So the Rebbe describes the term tzaddik is someone who is nishar ba'atzmo, who's careful with himself, shelo yetze mishuras hadin, that he never deviates from what the law expects of him. Right? He never goes ahead and deviates at all from whatever the expectations of the Ribono Shel Olam may be. Va'amar asher ya'aseh ki b'maaseh b'poel efshar li adam lios tzaddik gomer. So we'll say, what's happening over here is as follows. The Rebbe is creating a profound expectation. Ki ein tzaddik ba'aretz asher ya'aseh tov v'lo yechta. There's no such thing as a person who is always behaviorally perfect. At the end of the day, people mess up. At the end of the day, people make mistakes. And no matter how righteous a person may be, no one always does everything right. Now the Rebbe goes on, he says, V'asibu lakach, he kenoda, shebolat. So if you skip the brackets a little bit, he discusses why this is, that by definition, that level of behavioral perfection cannot be found in this world. Right? That's it. That level of behavioral perfection, that's not a function of Olam Hazeh. That's a function of the Ribono Shel Olam. Skip the brackets. Hare nimsa shi efshar li adam lios tzaddik ba'aretz b'maisa. A person can't be a tzaddik in this world b'maisa, behaviorally. And this is incredibly important, as we're going to see in just a moment. So behaviorally, it is impossible for a person to be perfect. He goes on, Efshar li adam lios tzaddik, lach b'machshava o ratzon halev. I will say this is such a beautiful idea. But there is some level of possible perfection. Where is that level of possible perfection? And what the Rebbe calls b'machshava, the ratzon halev. One's thoughts, and the desires of their heart. Hainu, shegomer belibo sheyisnahi kach b'diuk, al pi hatzaddik v'adin v'lo yechta. So I will say this is absolutely incredible. We'll have to conclude with this, but it's an incredibly profound yesod. The Rebbe says it is impossible to be totally behaviorally righteous. A person can't be an absolute tzaddik in their behaviors because everyone makes mistakes. But where can a person be a tzaddik? Where can a person be absolutely perfect? B'machshava, in thought, and ratzon halev, and what you want in your heart. Hadainu, shegomer belibo sheisnai kach b'diuk, al pi hatzaddik v'adin, v'lo yechta. Listen to this, in my heart, I could say to myself, what do I want? What do I want in my heart? Shegomer belibo. I decide in my heart that I am going to behave in the correct way in life. I decide in my heart that I'm going to do what is correct. I decide in my heart that I'm going to live up to the expectations of the Ribbon Shalom. Sham, b'mocho, ubelibo, yuchal lirtzos v'lashoch kak b'shlemus. I will say, isn't this absolutely incredible? Says the Rebbe, although behaviorally a person can't be perfect, behaviorally a person can't go ahead and do everything correct. Ein tzaddik ba'aretz, there's no such thing as a tzaddik ba'aretz. Remember again, I didn't mention this point, but Hatzaddik taught this to us earlier as well. The word ba'aretz is very important. If you're living ba'aretz, if you're living in this world, by definition, absolute piety and righteousness is impossible. If you can't be a tzaddik ba'aretz who never does anything wrong. But where can there be complete perfection? Where can there be complete piety? In one's heart, and ultimately, again, one's thoughts. The desires of one's heart. So the Rebbe says, what does it mean, desires of my heart? Again, he says that halacha l'maisa, I go ahead in my heart, I decide, I'm not going to sin. I'm not going to sin. I'm not going to sin. I'm going to live my life in accordance with tzedek and din. Sham b'mocho ubelibo yuchal lirtzos v'lachshol kach b'shlemus. See, I will say, in my heart, I could want something with absoluteness. And that absoluteness is meaningful, even though it doesn't necessarily express itself behaviorally. See, what Hatzaddik is alerting us to is something really incredibly beautiful and profound, which is that often we think that it's only the things we do that matter, that what we think doesn't matter all that much. And Hatzaddik says that's not true. There's two parts to who and what I am. There's what I think, what I want, that's one aspect, and then there's what I do. In the world of what I do, in the world of behavior, I can't be absolutely pious. Ein tzaddik ba'aretz. If you're living in this world, absolute piety is simply not in the cards. But I will say, in my heart, in what Hatzaddik calls the ratzon halev. What do you want? What do you want in your heart? Do you want absolute piety? Do you want absolute righteousness? I will say, it's a good shayla. Is that something that I want in my heart? If I want that, if I truly desire that, the Tzaddik says, that's an accomplishment. And that is where absolute piety can be accomplished. In the heart, in the mind, even though not in the behavior. So we'll stop over here for today. We're going to pick up and build on this concept tomorrow. It's so wonderful to be back with the Rebbe. All right, we'll say shkoyach.